and welcome to Meet Us on the Abraham Path. I'm Anisa Mehdi, Executive Director of the Abraham Path Initiative. Today, we're talking about my trip to Iraq in April 2023. This journey focused on the Abraham Path Initiative's cultural heritage preservation projects in the northern part of the country. I finally got to meet some of the people I've worked with online for years, and I finally got to go back to the land of my father's birth. I am really glad you're joining us for this conversation. I hope you have questions, and I invite you to put them in the Q&A so that we can ask them and get them answered and have a meaningful conversation amongst us today. Before I introduce you to my partners here, I'd like to take a moment to talk about the mission and vision of the Abraham Path. API is a US-based nonprofit organization. We help develop trails in Southwest Asia to encourage intercultural connections through walking and online programming. That's pretty bold, right? Since 2007, API has catalyzed nearly 1,500 miles of walking trails in Sinai, Palestine, Jordan, Turkey, and Iraq's Kurdistan region. These trails stimulate economic development and cultural heritage preservation off the beaten path in the part of the world people typically call the Middle East. API is working toward a future in which the people of geographic Southwest Asia are celebrated worldwide for their hospitality, and that the landscapes are known for beauty and variety. Today's guests, our partners, work with Iraqi minority communities in the Nineveh Governorate. The Nineveh Governorate is in the northwest part of the country. We're partnering with Bara Jabo and the Assyrian Aid Society in Baghdad, southeast of Mosul, to produce short films documenting traditional Syriac Catholic embroidery. Further west, in Shingal, Sinjar in Arabic, Sister Macrina Finley is working with an Ezidi family to document and make films about the principles of khair. Please join me in welcoming Bara Jabo, our project manager in Baghdad, his hometown. Bara, hello.
Thank you. Thank you, Anisa, for introducing, and hi for all. I'm very happy to join you, and thank you for joining us today in this webinar. And also, thank you so much for your interest, support, and help.
It's very exciting to do this work. I understand, Bara, that your son Pedro graduated from kindergarten this morning.
Yes. Yeah, it was great. It was great to see that. My first son, Pedro, has been graduated from the kindergarten, and he's going to the first class in the primary school. So it was happy for all the families, and also the bishop was there, giving us the blessings.
I was lucky to meet the bishop when I was in Baghdad.
Yes, Bishop Yonan, Benedictus Yonan. These events, when it just finished, it gave me happiness and also hope to continue what we are doing and to stay in our country and work. It was great to see these events and to see this little boys have the hat of graduation and taking a picture. So it was great.
Such a proud father. Let me tell you a little bit more about Bara. He holds a Master's of Science in Civil Engineering and is program manager for the Assyrian Aid Society, Iraq. He helped rebuild and rehabilitate more than 2,000 homes that were destroyed by ISIS when they invaded in 2014 and in the years of occupation that followed. Bara is also a program manager for a human rights project focused on psychological and social work in his city and the environs. So you can see that he's very much committed to making the world around him a better place. I also want us to welcome Dr. Macrina Finley. Sister Macrina is a Benedictine nun in Dinklage, Germany, working closely with refugees for the past 8 years. Hello, it's always good to see you, Sister Macrina.
Great to see you.
Anything exciting at the Abbey today?
There's always a fair amount of excitement. Today's was very practical. We had a bit of a team building project for several of the refugees who are living with us. It wasn't intended to be that. We needed to put a table together, and it was more difficult than they imagined, but I think we've all had that experience. So having people with Arab, Syrian background and Kurdish background and Yazidis and Muslims and Christians and all of us trying to put two tables together was quite an adventure, but we managed. And it was really those kinds of experiences of day-to-day life with one another are the sort that, for me, are the most, not necessarily the most important, but certainly ones that give me hope that, yeah, we can live normal life together.
Yeah. And since many of the people, as she described, many of the people that Sister Macrina meets are Ezidis from Singal, you are now fluent in the local language, which is Kurmanji, making you the perfect researcher for our project on Khair. Sister Macrina is also launching a new NGO called Regenerate Shingal to help revive the Yazidi homeland after ISIS's intended genocide of the Yazidi people from 2014 to 2016. That's brave work, Sister Macrina. Big question for you. Why do you do it?
They've become my family over the years, and I've been invited into their lives, and I've been able to see some of the injustices, the challenges, and I can't really turn my back on the ones that come to my doorstep. I know that that situation exists all around the world, but this is the one that came to me or that came to my community and that invited me into their spaces. And that's an invitation that I just have so much respect for, and it's an invitation I consider to be really from God, which may sound a bit much, but there are things that are given to you that you just don't want to say no to. You feel like you can't say no to, and that are a blessing. And that's, I think, the basis of it, in the midst of all of the challenges, to see all of these people who are blessings, and to want to restore their land and their culture to what they know it is, but which has been, there's been attempts to destroy it. That for me is, if I can have any part in that, then I want to say yes to it.
Thank you. A similar question for you, but you and your family fled Baghdad ahead of the ISIS invasion in 2014. You thought it would be 3 weeks away, but you were in exile for 3 years before going home. And when you got there, you started cleaning up the mess. So what now inspires you to take on a project about embroidery with all the other important healing, repair, construction projects around you that need attention?
Oh yeah, first of all things, in general, yes, we are documenting the embroidery, the textile, the history of the region. So in person, I'm doing the work for myself because it's my town, people, it's my community. So I'm working for me to do this. So I'm very happy and very interesting to do that. I can say that in 3 words, doing this work, documenting the textile heritage of Baghdad, gives me a happiness and make me feel safe and also give me hope. So make me happy when I see my people is knowing about the history, doing the embroidery for our clothes, don't forget it. And when I see old women wearing traditional clothes, I feel safe. I am in my town, I'm with my people. So this makes me happy and safe. And it gives me hope also for my kids, for the new generation, that they will not forget the history of their parents, grandfathers, and mothers. So they will keep the same traditions, the same history of their grandpa. So they will continue their life, their traditions in the same way. So this is very important to me. It's not just working for documenting something. No, it's for my community, my people, my family, and myself.
I think you've beautifully described, both of you, really what cultural heritage is. And doing this work with you has helped me explore what American cultural heritage is, because even though my father is Iraqi, I've got a Canadian mother, and I was born in this country. And our cultural heritage is so tied into our identity, I don't think we even recognize it anymore. And exposing it and having the opportunity, in my case, and yours too, Sister Macrina, to be getting in touch with someone else's, right? And Bara, you've let me into yours, and women we met and people we met. I'm so grateful. If you have questions, audience members, please put them in the Q&A. We're very glad to include you in our conversation. There is a question for you, Bara, which is, does the embroidered clothing reflect the stories of families and artisans? And you have a presentation coming up that will actually help answer that question. Do you want to say something now?
Yes, the embroidery of the clothes here, the historical clothes, can be also stories for the people who are doing the work itself. So sometimes a woman, when she is doing the embroidery, she tells her story in it, because it's full of symbols, maybe words, and everything you can do in this piece of clothes. So she can tell their stories in it. Yes, we have some of that. Yeah.
So Yalla, let's see your presentation. Let's see some of this work.
Okay.
Take us in.
Cultural heritage refers to the tangible and intangible aspects of our shared history and identity, including buildings, artifacts, traditions, and customs. Preserving a cultural heritage is crucial for maintaining a sense of continuity and connection with our past, as well as for promoting diversity and understanding among different cultures. The cultural heritage of Iraqi Christians is a rich and diverse tapestry that has been woven over centuries. One of the most significant aspects of this cultural heritage is the historical clothes worn by Iraqi Christians, which reflects the unique blend of influences from various civilizations that have shaped Iraqi history. The preservation of this cultural heritage is essential to ensure that future generations can appreciate and understand the rich history and the traditions of Iraqi Christians. Historically, clothing is not just a piece of fabric. It represents the identity, culture, and values of the community. It tells us stories about their way of life, beliefs, and customs. But unfortunately, due to the political instability, wars, and conflicts in Iraq over the past few decades, many historical clothes and buildings have been lost or destroyed. So on the left, you can see in the picture the church of San Bihnam Ansara, which is in Baghdad. Its bell tower was toppled by ISIS, or as we say in Arabic, Daesh, in 2014, and it was totally burned from inside. And on the right, you can see the remains of the Church of Resurrection, destroyed in an American airstrike in search of Daesh. The preservation of buildings, garments, and traditions requires significant effort from individuals and organizations dedicated to protecting Iraqi cultural heritage. Preserving Iraqi Christian cultural heritage clothing is not just about saving physical objects. It's about safeguarding an entire cultural legacy. It helps us understand our past better and provide us with a sense of identity and belonging. Now, let's talk about Baghdad. Baghdad is a town located in Nineveh governorate of northern Iraq. It's about 32 kilometers southeast of Mosul city, the biggest city in the region, and west of Erbil, capital of Kurdistan region. In the circle we draw in the red, you see Baghdad is the eastern side of Tigris River. Baghdad is also close to the historic city of Nimrud, which was once a major center of the Assyrian Empire. Here is Anisa at Nimrud, next to one of the giant genies that guarded the entrance of King Ashur-nasir-pal's northeast palace. It's the only one left on site after Daesh came through.
Hallelujah. ملك المجد آت. Hallelujah.
This is the Syriac Christian population of Baghdad, celebrating Palm Sunday this year. A small but significant community that has faced many challenges over the years. Historically, the region was home to a large number of Christians, but due to the various conflicts and political upheavals, many have been forced to flee their homes and seek refuge elsewhere. Personally, I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. We are all married and have families. We were living before 2014 in Baghdad, all of us. So we were more than 35 persons as a one family. So after Daesh came and we fled to Erbil for 3 years, and this time many of people decided to immigrate and go to other countries outside Iraq. So when we back in 2017, I returned back only with my one brother and his family. So 3 of my sisters and 2 of my brothers went out of Iraq, seek for immigration. So they are living now in Australia, Europe, and we have thousands of people also and families immigrated or went to US, Canada, Australia, Europe, and the other countries. Despite this, there are still several thousand Christians living in Baghdad today, approximately 25,000 persons. The Christian population in Baghdad may be small compared to other communities in Iraq. They play an important role in preserving the country's rich cultural diversity. Their resilience in the face of adversity is a testament to their faith and commitment to their community. You can see on the left, Father Fadi is the only monk at the monastery of St. John, caring for the Syriac Orthodox Church. And on the right, you can see the Church of the Immaculate Conception Cathedral being decorated for Palm Sunday for this year. Now, let's talk about how to preserve the textile heritage. The first step is to document the textile heritage of Al-Baghdad. This includes collecting information about the history, techniques, designs, and textile. And this is what we are doing now, documentation of the textile heritage in Baghdad through making videos and photos. This is the best way to document the textile heritage. The second point is education. So educating the local community about their importance of preserving their textile heritage is crucial. This can be done through workshops, seminars, and exhibitions. We are also working on that. We are planning to do a workshop next month. We will have a group of women gathering, and we will have a teacher, a woman who know about the embroidery and the history of the textile heritage, and she will learn them about the importance of preserving and teach them about the ways to embroider, how to keep the old clothes and save it. So we are working on that and do this workshop next month. The third thing is conservation. So a proper conservation techniques should be used to preserve the textiles. This includes storing them in a cool and dry place, using acid-free materials for packaging and avoiding exposure to sunlight. Restoration. If any of the textiles are damaged, So a restoration should be done by trained professionals using appropriate techniques and materials. And we have done some of that. When we back in 2017 to our homes, we have many of the traditional clothes were damaged. So they fix it, they restore them with professional persons. Promotion. Promoting the textile heritage of Baghdad through tourism can help raise awareness and generate income for local artisans. And you know that the media and websites and social media play a good player in this. So if we will not share our history, our traditions to the world, then who will share it? So advertising and the promotion is very important to share our history and traditions to all the world. Last thing, collaboration. So collaboration with international organizations and experts in textile preservation can provide valuable knowledge and resources for preserving the Al-Baghdadi textile heritage. Funding for this Abraham Path project came from ALIF, the International Alliance for Protection of Heritage in Conflict Areas. IPI is partnering with the Syrian Aid Society of Iraq to implement this project. We hope to share the findings and films we are making with museums and film festivals. These age-old techniques are threatened with extinction due to the compounded conflict in the region, diminishment of users, and the entry of the alternatives to the traditional ways from other modern industries. The purpose of documenting these works is to preserve what was previously produced in the region and how it was produced, and to recognize the evolution of a tradition and technique. We are going to show you footage from our project showing the process and some of the shawls or outer dresses that are carefully embroidered. So if you have any question or comment,
we do have
notes,
one.
please.
We do
Okay.
have one.
Before I share a video,
yeah. And some of this question is from Krista Brun, who herself is a writer and is has written a memoir on that includes the cultural heritage of her family by marriage, which is in the Palestinian community. She asks, beyond the fallout of war, what challenges do you face in documenting and educating your community about the rich cultural traditions of your people, which I'm sure is something that you, Krista, have been grappling with. Also, how does your work connect people locally with those in the community who now live elsewhere? And I actually have something to say on that, if I may, and which is that this project came to us, this real close look at the embroidery traditions of the Syriac Catholic community, from a longtime colleague of the Abraham Path Initiative and our fellow, Stephanie Saldana, who is a dear friend of mine and also coincidentally of Sister Macrina Finlay. And she had a grant from us to do research on this subject. Her book on that research, which includes the story, a story, because there are many stories, a story of this particular cultural heritage, comes out in the United States this September. I'm lucky to have a preview copy called What We Remember Will Be Saved, the story of refugees and the things they carry. Because as you know, Bara will attest and Sister Macrina, when you leave at the last possible moment, you can't take a whole lot of stuff with you. You know, you might take one of your dresses, you might take the seeds for your favorite kind of eggplant, you might take a blanket for your child. And so these are the subjects that she deals with in her upcoming book, which I hope you will take a look at. But do you want to show us the video so we can show people what some of that work looks like?
This is Baghdad. On the right, you can see the Immaculate Conception Cathedral. It's one of the biggest churches in the Middle East. This is Uncle Khaya Bakhtar. He is the only person left who weaves clothes in the old way.
تتميز الأنسجة في بغداد.
He's saying that the textures in Baghdad are characterized by natural symbols such as planets, animals, birds, and geometric shapes.
ومن نباتات.
كوزيوا هادخ كميل جرج مخميس قتشال وخيطاوة تامك دايقوا.
Mrs. Imama was talking in Syriac language. She talks about the old and the primary method of making a tradition clothes and how all the women in the same house were involved in sewing.
وتلنشال خنا كمي والد بحشيقة هم كاي ود إزلب ثيلا قيذا وهم بعدين كسوئي والتريش كالكوما.
Mrs. Hana, who is also talking in Syriac language, is talking about the types of traditional clothes and how to wear them according to every occasion. There are special clothes for joy, such as weddings, baptism, or like the Palm Sunday. And there are also special clothes for sadness, in which the black color is the dominant color. This shawl is for joy. You can see Jesus Christ, crosses, and on the right bottom, the map of Iraq. And here you can see the Immaculate Church, and also you can see the dance chain that is a traditional dance in Karakosh. So it's full of symbols. Any story you would like to tell us in your piece of clothes, you can do it.
I love these images, but because we saw them together on Palm Sunday this year. It was very, very exciting. And I'm very excited to see this film come together that will explain to our audiences a whole lot more about this amazing tradition, the work that goes in. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sister Macrina, can you share with us some of the experience from Shingal, who we met and what it is we're trying to accomplish there?
Yes, absolutely. I already did, as you well know, in October, I did a whole webinar on the theme of what our project is about, what my project is about in Shingal. But we're sort of a step earlier, I suppose, than doing anything with textiles, and really working on understanding basic ideas of a religion that is little known, and a particular region and how it's lived there. Because as we've discovered, as a lot of refugees in displaced Yazidis in Kurdistan came to realize, and vice versa, there are practices that aren't even the same in all of Iraq. So that's been the basis of the project that I am doing, looking at this concept of prayer, which is essentially blessing. This time I put together more pictures that for me shows challenges and the disparities. Here we have the beauty and also the destruction all together. This is one of the shrines that was destroyed, and that is one of the many that is still not been rebuilt, Khadir Ilyas, which was, as an idea, a cultural heritage conservation point for the UN, for UNESCO, because it brings together the different religions of Iraq, and it's little known outside of the region. Here's a picture of Anisa and myself in our trip, and the farm that some of our friends and partners have begun. So you see some of the absolute beauty that is possible there. and also the attempts to revive culture. Here we have a few people who are in their traditional Yazidi dress at the first annual feast at the shrine of Sheikh Mand. After 9 years, where so many of the people, even the young people here in this picture, who simply didn't have the capacity to experience what their own feasts were like for most of their childhood and their growing up years. So having them re-experience these things again for the first time and coming to understand bit by bit the basis of sort of what drives them, what motivates them, which again is this concept of prayer. In this picture, to me, I just see so much desire to return. You have, again, the first assembly, and in this mass of people, what will come is a new prayer cloth that they will bring into the shrine. And with that, they're reminding themselves, and I would say the world, this is a holy place, and this is our holy mountain. So after a genocide attempt, after many genocide attempts, to remind themselves of what blessing is, that they are blessed, and that God is blessing. That's really, if you want to understand why people are returning to this place that is still so destroyed, that's the basis of it. It's this hope. It's this sense that we are connected, that we're connected to the place and we're connected to each other, and that in the end, it is our job to bless, and we will be blessed. It sounds so simple, but when that's at the basis, one understands perhaps why people are trying to return. Here we have some of the little girls again. Everyone's trying things on for size. None of these little girls were born in Shingal. They were all born in camps. So returning to their home space years after and trying to understand what it is that their community holds dear is what they're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, and what our videos are trying to capture. This is one of these cloths that is brought in. Here you see there are knots in them. When you go in and you want to pray, you generally will untie somebody else's prayer knot, bringing that up to heaven, and then you'll put in your knot. So this understanding of community that is literally knotted into the society is one of the keys. And for me, being able to see the similarities and the differences as well between the way that religion is understood and practiced in a shrine, which is where this is, and then at home where you have similar practices, you have many of the holy items that you have been able to collect in holy places, and you bring them into your home, and you bring them into your family, into your heart. And every one of these items, we would do well to have a doctoral thesis on all of them. None of that's been done. And we're trying to lay the groundwork so that bit by bit, we can preserve some of these ideas and their contexts. This is a young boy who I know very well, actually both, and a young man who I know very well. And one can see and hear, I think, the challenges, the struggles. So this is more symbolic than it is anything, but of seeing the blue sky, seeing the potential perhaps, but also seeing the destruction and trying to figure out what it looks like to come back from that, digging up in the brown earth and not letting the destruction stop, recognizing, seeing through the broken glass that there are still blessings and that it's our job to bless. Here as well, we see traditions preserved. This is a shrine in the north of Shingal on the left-hand side, and in the right, the way that many people live their lives day to day with water tanks, with tanks brought in. And the more modern wells, the sheep that connect people with the past and traditional ways from earlier, and all of these things that the community is trying to preserve. These are the things that we're trying to explore and then see how each of them plays a role in preserving the traditional ways of life and are connected with the religion and the philosophy that developed in this particular space. We have here also some symbols that are important for Yazidis, where snakes play a positive role for a variety of reasons that might make me as a Christian, and do make me as a Christian, think about the role in Christianity and even see it differently, and that make me want to understand what is it in this particular culture, in this particular religion, that is able to see something that is so dangerous and hold it with reverence, not make that what I might also have a healthy fear for be something I consider to be evil, but to be something that can protect and that is something to be held with respect, with reverence. These are some of the things that I am learning through this project, and that I think will hopefully come out in the video that we're making. And here is a picture of one of the videos watching the sun rise at this holy shrine of Sheikh Mand. This is a process that we've been going through together. One of the people pictured here is our primary cameraman. And so being able to see what he sees as priorities and seeing the way that he makes the videos is also a learning element in this project. I come with my own understanding, and very often he comes with different understanding of what a priority is. And that leads us into conversations about what is valuable and what is important. So we're getting to see something from his Indigenous point of view. And hopefully that is something that will teach all of us a little something about how to see the world with different eyes.
I think this would be a perfect time for us to see the video that so far has been produced. A bit of a rough cut for our audience, but a beautiful piece of work from a really talented young man. I think we've discovered somebody here, Sister Macrina.
روش نو دركت أزيل بر شيخ مندم شيخ منديل قبلتا جاي شنقاليت كفا قندي جدالي ده شيخ مند البا همو إيز جاي مهمة والباما بتري مهمة إجبر شيخ مند خداني مايا
چاواتت بيجي شيخ من خداني منه
شيخ من خداني مو بابي منه
نه بس ایتو بابته ای بابو باپیرین ما ای هر کسی کی مروی ما و شیخ من دجبر خدانی ما مسئولیه سر روحا مایا و هر تشتاکی امچنه شیخ من ریش مرفت کن
تكارين ها بيجي كم داكو باب الخدين داكو باب من داكو باب
نا اسنكارم
إجبر أمجيني كان بيجين شيخ من نخداني ما يمشي خداني كي خدينه
جاري هوارا لبني رچن جهة كسبهيا چندي أمتن مرتاحن چند أم بهنه هلت كيشنو أم مرتاحت بنها كأم في جهينة بري هاش سالايا أم چون وداعش هات وافدر خراقرين جاري الهموي بنيرا بس هر أم نكارن هكا أم نينا في جهي وهر ما أمل همو أمل في جهي فقر نجبر جهي مايا وجهي بابو بابيرين مايا
أف جهكي قلق اسبايا وأف جهكي تاريخية أف جهكي بيروزة وجهي خيرية
اجبر هر جارك أم هانا في جهي أم خيرا خودي تشيتكين أم خيرا مريد خود تشيتكين أم خيرا هم ودين هر خيرك تشو اجفي جهي تشا بري إدي سالا أم هاتنا في جهي ديسا أم وقريان وما زاني هكا أفجي هموي خرابويا وتشتك تينهي لاينا بس ما زاني هر جهي مايا وهر أميلي وقرن وقوطا ما همو الفي جهي دا
قوتا كمسنا الباشيغ مانتا إجبال روجكي قلق إزديال فيا السريا راستشين وشيغ من معرشان دا بيشي ومعركرا بيشي دا أو سريا راس نتشين و أو ريا خيري قنداناكين وبشتي أو زانين أو نرياوانا وريا غلطة أو فقريان أو هاتن ديسا ريا راز قرتن وبريا خيري قرتن وديسا خير كرين وكبري
أو بريبو بري عمري ما بو بس هر قوات الباش يومنتها وما هم فقير راس الريا راست
روش نو دركت وما أمل هيا أم زانن هر شيغ من مستقبلي مايا وهر برشيغ من جيه مايا
الهيفيا خدي وشيغمنت
أريد هيفيا خدي وشيغ من
Thank you for that peek into Shingal, into the city, into the countryside and the quality of life and the hopes. We have Faye Simcock. Did you have a comment you wanted to share with us?
It was really a question to Sister Macrina about praying and how you have developed that, and maybe how we can pray for you and what can we pray for.
I'm very touched. My most important prayer is help, and it's one that really gets me. That's very, very useful. Which reminds me that I am that I can ask for that, and that I can rely on help. And the other, I suppose, is really recognizing, this isn't maybe the exact answer to your question, but recognizing, and this is something I've learned from Yazidis, and also from my life as a Benedictine, that we are living, we are here to be blessed and to bless, and sometimes that means working hard for it, fighting for it. So if there's anything that like Jacob does in the story in the Bible, where he wrestles with the angel until and at the end he gets his blessing, and I think if anything, that would be the prayer I would ask for, is strength for that particular fight, knowing that it is one that is intended to strengthen us, but one that takes a lot of energy, and that requires that I don't forget the reality, which is that we are here, and that is the basis, and that's the reason why we keep going. So maybe that's an answer, maybe it's the best I can give.
Farah, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, this is great. Everything that Sister Macrina present, it's really interesting. And from my visits to Sinjar, and also I worked in Shingal and Sinjar, so rehabilitating some homes, I think Sinjar is very in need to be funded and restored again. So comparing to Hamdaniya, Baghdad, the restoring of homes, the rehabilitation was more fast and big. There was a good funds to that, but in Sinjar still today, they need too much support. They need too much organizations to go there to see their psychologists, also a social work, also to be go there, work with them. But also, the first thing, as in an emergency cases, we need to repair the homes. We need to fund them, to have a job, opportunities. This is very important now because the people there are suffering still today.
I'll add one thing to that. That's exactly the case, and thank you so much for bringing that up. And it's true, and there's a need for a deep understanding of the many things that were attempted, that people were attempting to destroy And that's one of the things that we're aiming to understand. So homes are absolutely essential, and wells are absolutely essential, and understanding the importance of this mountain and the natural spaces and the water supplies and all of these things that Yazidis hold in reverence. This is a holy mountain, and so it's sacrilege what happened there. And so to understand that it goes that deep, and that with every attempt that we're making to restore these spaces, even the natural spaces, it's restoring a holy place, a place of indigenous religion and tradition, one that I certainly have learned so much and continue to learn from, and want to preserve. So thank you, and it's so wonderful. And I know this is one of the things we wanted to have happen to people to see or to understand, is how we've come together as a team with our different projects, learning what each of us is doing and understanding we're not alone. I know we know each other. We're working together, even if on different projects. It's the same work, and that sure gives me hope.
You both give me a lot of hope, and I know from some of the questions that have come in, there's some hope happening out there too, about witnessing individual and collective transformation, about possible exhibitions we might be able to mount, even in the United States. You know, there are a couple of Iraqi museums, but what about here? And I thank you, audience members, for these suggestions. Also questions about where have the Ezidis gone who've left? Where have the Syriac Catholics gone who've left? And so this to me speaks to the need for a follow-up conversation. In the meantime, Bara Java, my deep appreciation to you and the Assyrian Aid Society for your partnership, for so beautifully managing API's cultural heritage work in Baghdad, and for bringing me into your life and your family and your community. We're working hard and we're having an amazing time for learning.
Thanks to you and the API for giving this opportunity to us to work on documenting the textile heritage of Baghdad and giving the history to share it with the world. So thank you so much. Thank you for all your support and help. We appreciate that.
Sister Macrina Finlay, our researcher, film director for the project with the Ezidis of Shingal, my friend, founder of Regenerate Shingal. Really, really, thank you for describing what that project is about. And it's an urgent project. I look forward to working with you on it. I'm looking forward to seeing the support of the API community there. Gratitude to those of you who have joined us from across the United States, and Europe, and Asia. Thank you for participating with the Abraham Path Initiative. We're not for profit. We bring you programs online as part of our mission to introduce people and cultures from Southwest Asia to you, our growing international community. And if you like what you see, please make a tax-deductible gift on our website, www.abrahampath.org. Today, we will leave you with a lighthearted moment from Mount Shingal. Sister Macrina and I, we were inspired by Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein, who are leaders in the American cultural heritage tradition of musical theater. And we had some fun that we're going to share with you in a moment. I'm Anisa Mehdi. For all of us at the Abraham Path Initiative, thank you for joining us.
I go to the